Hello and welcome to another edition of Bomber Splits on the College Football Mafia Network. I'm your host, Nathan Bomber Brown. My Seahawks louder flag is going to drop here in just a second. And that makes me sad because we are in playoffs time and everybody knows how big of a Seahawks fan I am. So I've got old gear on. I've got 2006 to Tupu. I've got 2006 hat. Yes, this hat's 20 years old. All the way from the 2006 NFC Championship game, which I was lucky enough to go to. And Seahawks are now playing the Rams this weekend, and it will be the biggest game of the year. And there's already been some good ones in the NFC West. Sorry. Got to get this straight. I haven't worn it for a minute. So I'm excited about that. And I appreciate everybody joining me tonight to be here as we finish out this, what we will call 25-26 college football season. And there it goes. It's going to drop right off. In fact, I'm just going to pull it off because it's going to distract me now. There we go. Want to welcome everybody being here tonight. We are going to be talking about Indiana and what domination they had throughout the season. And then what an amazing game we had last night. We'll do a sort of a rewind on how this last season has gone. I'll do that in my monologue. And at the same time, I want to get as much of your comments and feedback as I can tonight. Yes, I'm going to open up the phone calls. I will let everybody know kind of how we're doing, and I want to hear your opinions. And then I want to announce a couple other changes. Not big changes we're going to do around here, but we've been promising, my whole team has been promising changes to this next offseason and next year. And so we're going to be adding some additional formats that are going to be formalized. And I want you guys to look for them. One of them is going to be, we're going to probably do 3 live shows a week outside of emergency episodes, which we reserve the right to pop on you anytime. And then we're going to do some shorts, cutouts of our shows. We'll do pre-recorded videos at times. Then we will have our Moen Confidential. Most of those are member shows. I'd like to do some more live member shows. I'll have to get with Moen about doing those. But certainly the member content is really important to us around here. And everything we do for you is because of the feedback that we've received ourselves. Wild Ute University will continue to be a feature. And then we have our Big Freakin' Friday shows. And then our Sunday show with Rock and Rant of College Football Express and Moen. So those are some changes that we're going to be doing. Not as many live shows outside of special events, as I say. And then the one show that, again, I'm prepping, we're 2.5 weeks away. The first week of February would be the first edition of Team Up, a collaboration that will be formalized between us and Mark Rogers at Voice of College Football. And those are big news days. Those are where we do big interviews with people who know what they're talking about, not so much opinion from people like Mark and I, more fact from people who are in the muck and actually have the experience. We want to add more content that is real, and then finite content that you guys find powerful. And all of it, we require your feedback. If you don't like what we're doing, if you think we should be doing more or less of something, you need to let us know. We listen to what you're saying, and I think these changes are going to be fun. It's going to be stuff that we're going to look forward to. Obviously, everything is an option to change. But our team here, we're going to be doing different things at different times. And all I can say is that we wouldn't be doing it if it wasn't for you. And everybody that watches the show, all the subscribers, all the members that have been with us for months and months and months, sometimes years. For people, and we're hoping that these changes will be nice and you guys will appreciate them. They're not changes like you might hear at work where they're saying, oh, okay, we're going to do organizational changes, and actually they're laying people off. We're not doing that. We're just cutting back a little on the live content and going more to pro forma, pre-recorded announcements, that type of thing. I'm going to try to do every Tuesday night live shows. Every Tuesday night we'll have call-ins, unless, again, we have a special feature and we just don't have the time for that night. And then there will be 10-minute carve-outs. and I'll let you know when those are happening. I'm hoping I'm going to start a timer myself. This is new for me too, but I'm hoping that we can get something on screen so you guys know what we're talking about and when we are. No matter when you sign into the show, you'll know kind of what's going on then. Um, Anyways, those are all announcements. We don't have to go through that again anytime in the future. I just want to let everybody know that's kind of what we're doing, and we're doing that all these changes because of things that we've heard from you guys, and we're trying to do things better. So, first of all, I want to thank everybody for being here tonight. Make sure you follow us on Twitter. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube. Get involved. If you have comments, questions, send me, Mo, and you, Daniel, Becky, Pickles, Fergie, Rock, send us comments and questions. Let us know how we're doing on Twitter or on comments on the shows, and we will respond to those. We invite all super chats. If you see a live show or even a pre-recorded show that you want to give us a little of a bump back, we certainly love those super chats. And then, of course, all the members, the guys that have the special signal next to their name, just like Daniel does here, that little S $ at the end there. That means that you're a member, and everything we do is to make you guys happy, and we really work hard to do that. Thank you, Daniel, for being here tonight. I appreciate you. You know I'll do anything you need, Nate. I do know, Daniel. And we're going to have to get creative. There's other things we can be doing. I don't want to be tied down. If you guys want special features, we respond to you, right? The changes we're talking about doing now are in response to comments and feedback we've received from you. We want more subscribers. We want more followers on Twitter. But most importantly, we want to be servicing what you guys want. And I think we do a pretty good job, but you know, we're always open to change. And that's kind of what our motto is around here: change to meet your needs, not ours. Okay. So thank you for being here tonight. I appreciate it. And out of the gate, look at this. Caden the Diesel Freak giving us a one College Football Mafia membership. Thank you so much, Caden. And you know what? I forgot to open up my window. Give me 1 second, and I can tell you who got that. We celebrate those people. Give me 1 sec here. I should have had it open, and I was setting stuff up, and I didn't hit that button. Give me 1 second. Here we go, live show. We'll bring that up. And there we go. Now I can see it. Caden, the Diesel Freak, went to I Got the Keiths. What is it? I Got the Keys, Keith Moore. I Got the Keys, Keith Moore is in the house. A new member. Thank you so much for being here. We appreciate you. And that's an interesting name. We'll have to talk about what that actually means. I Got the Keys, Keith Moore. I'm going to have to say that again. I Got the Keys, Keith Moore. Keys, Keis. Anyway, thank you for being here. We appreciate it. Make sure you thank Caden the Diesel Freak there. I Got the Keys, Keith Moore, and let him know you appreciate his gift. Those things certainly, they cost somebody money, and tonight it's Caden the Diesel Freak, and I certainly appreciate that. And I can celebrate that because, oh, look at it. Moen did it. He did it. First of all, who doesn't like applauses, right? I figured out I've got buttons I can use for feedback. We're going to do that. And just for giggles, since I didn't know Moen had done this, let me, let's see. Where did that go? Let me go back here. Go back here. And it's not scrolling up and down. There was a timer. Where the hell did that go? No, I don't want that. I don't want that. Why is it not? That's really weird. I saw the timer, Moen, but now it's disappeared. It won't let me bring that display up for some reason. Let's see, 10-minute timer. Let's see what this looks like. Well, that's not exactly what I was looking for. I was hoping we could do it with me in the foreground. We'll work on that. We'll get that figured out. I appreciate everybody being patient with all these new changes. We're really working hard to bring what you guys could use and need. And these are some fun features. I just need to figure this out so that this displays, which is pretty cool, by the way, and it displays with me in front of it somehow, some way. We'll figure it out. It's not a big deal. Indiana won the national championship last year. Miami put up a game effort. It was an amazing, amazing game. And I think we should be celebrating how that worked. We got to a point where we had two good teams. You could argue whether Miami was the best team. We don't do that around here. They earn their right to be there. I'm a Miami fan. I was cheering for Miami, but I celebrate Indiana winning the national championship. I absolutely celebrate it. I think it's amazing. And I think what we need to take from it is that now NIL, transfer portal, which we have celebrated around here, although in different ways. I do it different than you. I do it different than Moen, and they do it different than each other. But we celebrate it because it leads to options. And in the last 3 years, the Big Ten has won 3 championships in a row. The SEC before that had won like 17 out of 20 or something, some crazy number. And that was those were amazing stats, right? SEC dominated for a decade and a half. And I think in most cases we got those things right. But 14 playoff was nothing. Wasn't even close to getting all the teams in. The last 2 years we've had a 10 seed, or were they both 10 seeds? Was Ohio State a 10 seed last year too? I can't remember. But either way, they weren't 1, 2, 3, or 4 seeds, and they come in and they win the national championship. And how amazing is that? I celebrate it. I think it's awesome, and I want more. And I'm hoping that we get something by Friday. ESPN has come out and made a declaration saying we're not moving this time back. We're not going to let you guys negotiate a change again to the CFP format. You guys need to decide this week, and if you don't decide this week, we're going to stay at 12. That's horrible, guys. Staying at 12 is horrible, in my opinion. If your opinion is just as valid as mine, if you disagree with me, please leave me a comment. Happy to talk about it. Maybe we can get some calls on that later in the show. But 12 is not enough. Everybody says 16. 16 has an attractiveness to it because everything's one, right? You could easily do no buys. First round games, 1 versus 16. And you just play straight seeding and just go. You play football, 1 to 16. And first 2 rounds are at home on stadiums. And you play until you get the best team. I like 24, and the reason I like 24 is the last 2 years, if you looked at the 1 to 24, really the top 25, you would have had everybody covered from commitments. Every conference that would have made it in a 12-team deal would have been represented. I'm not sure if JMU and Tulane would have been in. I think they were both ranked, but I cannot remember. But let's assume they were. That would have been 2 reps from the G6. And then the seeding would have been just for 1 through 8 get buys, the first round buys. The first round is the 9 to 24. And there would be some good matchups in there. I believe BYU was playing Oregon. I would have loved to have seen that. I would have absolutely loved to see that. And there were other matchups that Texas would have been in there. Utah would have been in there. And if Miami can go on a run, I think Miami, there were some analogs there with some other teams that could have put up just as much fight. And on 12, I was arguing all along that maybe they weren't even supposed to be in that number. But regardless, we are where we are. And now we had a successful tournament, and Indiana won, rightly so. Indiana won, rightly so. They played fantastic. I don't understand the block kick. What was that, third quarter, fourth quarter? I do not understand what was going on there with Miami. It looked pretty, I don't know. I'm not saying anybody cheated or anything like that, but it looked ugly, whatever it was, because they weren't even really rushing. They were in punt safe. They rushed like 5 guys. They were afraid of the fake, and they go in and block the kick, and it changes the game. At that point, you could have made an argument Miami was ascendant. But whatever, we ended at the end, and this is where I wanted to start tonight. I want to start with this run here by Mendoza, which I would argue is maybe one of the best college football plays I've ever seen in my life. Let me bring it up here because I want to make sure we give full credit to it. Where are we at here? Where the hell did it go? Oh, my bookmark went away. I apologize. Where the hell is that? I know I marked it. Well, damn it. That sucks. I had the Mendoza. Maybe as I'm listening to you, I can track that down and run that video. That's dumb. Where did it go? It's like, I don't know about you guys, but you guys run into trouble with X recently? I've had a lot of problems with X. I don't know why, but it's been very frustrating because I bookmark stuff and it disappears. Just give me a second here. Because this deserves to be celebrated. Here it is. I found it. All right, here we go. Share this tab instead. All right. Let's see if I can get this to come up. Give me 1 second. Add to stage. All right, we got it. I'm going to play this from the beginning. And if you missed this, I hope I'm not messing it up for you. But we're going to go with it anyway.
He's going to take off and run. Mendoza weaves his way first and go diving toward the end zone. Touchdown! He's going to take off and run. Mendoza weaves his way first and go diving toward the end zone. Touchdown!
How awesome is that? I'm serious. How awesome is that? That was an amazing football play. Now, I will tell everybody that play actually is almost an exact copy of a Bear Bachmeier run from BYU against Utah. I didn't think until right this second to compare it, but as I watch them, they were almost identical. They were quarterback keepers and run through tackles left and right. Regardless, that was an amazing play to finish out an amazing championship game. And it was disappointing to see how it ended, but I've also seen that play before where there's a disconnect between a wide receiver and a quarterback. I'm not apportioning blame there. I don't know. It looked to me like the ball was underthrown on that pass that got intercepted at the end there by Indiana. Regardless, the game was pretty fantastic, and I was pretty excited to watch all of it. I tip my hat to fans of Miami and of Indiana. You guys did a great job. Indiana showed out in the stands. They were absolutely loud and affected the game. And being in Miami, that's saying something. And that's what we need to be celebrating here, everybody. That's, as a group, what we need to be celebrating is the fact that we have more people involved in this whole process. It is absolutely amazing that we can get to a point where Indiana, the losingest P4 program of all P4 programs, they've lost more football games than anybody else in, I said P4, in the A4. That would be the SEC, the Big 10, Big 12, and ACC. They have 700 and some odd losses. Far and away the worst record of all college football. And yet in 2 years, they made the playoff the first year. This year, they run the table and end up 16-0. There's going to be a movie. I'm sure there's already a movie in production right now to cover that. So Indiana needs to be celebrated, and I hope everybody here watching is able to give them their due because it has been just an amazing story, really, an amazing story. And I think at the end of the day, we have to do what we can to recognize those things not being part of the natural order. It makes a massive difference that we celebrate these things and we aren't, I don't know, just really jerks about it, saying they don't deserve to be here. That's absolutely ridiculous, as you all know. So we'll go through that. I'll definitely take your calls. We'll talk about that. I'm working on a few things. One is a final word on the college football playoff format. I like anything better than 12 is great. 14 I think is just not enough, but 14 is an idea. 16 is maybe optimum, but 24 is my favorite. And there's a lot of people have changed their minds from 16 to 24. Maybe over time, more of that will come, but I don't know. We'll have to see. Time will tell. Let's see if there's anything. Let me go back through. I have one story I'm saving, but I'm saving it for my monologue and breakdown. And I'm not even going to tease it. This is the last thing. And this is really because I care about all of you. Let me bring this back. Where did that screen go? Let's see here. Is it this one? All right. I'm going to bring this one forward. And I'm not going to play the whole video. It's 5 minutes long. But I do want everybody to know, if you're in this cone.
Alrighty, folks. Let
me bring it up here. Okay. This is like real life, like your families. We've talked about hurricanes before. We've talked about earthquakes and natural disasters. We covered the LA fires. Not, we're not a news organization, but trying to get news and information out there in case you didn't know. The next 4 to 6 days, anywhere from West Texas all the way up through the North Panhandle of Florida, could be like historically bad weather to the point where you can't leave your house. So I'm pleading with you, go to Costco or Sam's Club or somebody, buy batteries for your flashlights. Get out your propane tanks in case you have to heat water. I would maybe pump water into a few extra gallon jugs so you have stuff you can use if something goes wrong. Power could fail. If you have a generator that you could service other people on top of yourself, think about including somebody in your disaster plans. Make sure everybody has all their cold weather gear. I know in these states you don't do a lot of cold weather, so that's again why I'm trying to get the word out. I'm being deadly serious here. This is not a joke. If power dies, and this has happened here in Utah, so I speak from personal, it happened in Washington quite a few times when I was growing up. If power dies, you could be without power for 2-3 days if the power lines break. Okay? So if you're in this swath, and I'm going to post a link to this so that you guys have the information. Look it up. Watch the video. Pay attention to what this guy says. This was the easiest one I found to kind of explain what it is. About 5 minutes long. But this isn't Bomber recommending something. This is literally the National Weather Service and people who know what they're talking about getting the word out, saying this could be like a DEFCON 4 type situation or DEFCON 1 situation that affects all your families and friends. So do what you can to get all your emergency stuff in order, and we will pray that none of you are affected or your families. That is a really big deal for us. And I just want you guys to know we care about you. So that came to mind as I was going through my stuff today. Anyway, let's quickly do some shout outs, and then I will do my first 10-minute little thing. All right, first, Outlaw Skies, newer member here in the College Football Mafia Nation. Appreciate you being here. Let's go Buckeyes. That's all we need is another Ohio State Buckeyes fan. Good to have you here, Outlaw Skies. Thank you so much for being a member of the College Football Mafia family. Hey, Bomber from Buckshot Kid. Thank you so much, Buckshot Kid. Good to see you. And Buckshot Kid and Outlaw Skies are both members of the College Football Mafia family. So here is the Big Lubbock representing the first from Texas Tech in the house. Good to see you, Lubbock. Thank you so much for being here tonight. Happy Tuesday. Daniel earlier said, hi, everyone. Good to see you, Daniel. Daniel's a contributor and somebody that puts out a weekly short show. It would just be how do I want to call it? It's like a 60 minutes sort of 1 minute breakdown. I can't remember what that's called. Not an opinion piece, but something that's based on facts. Daniel does a very good job. Daniel, if you're watching still, your show is not going to be affected. So you just keep doing what you're doing, which has been great. has been great. Mosito in the house. Good to see you, Mosito. Hi, College Football Mafia community. Thank you so much for being here, Mosito. Another member of the College Football Mafia family. Caden the Diesel Freak. Hey, how's it going, College Football Mafia? Bob Swanger, representing the Penn State Nittany Lions. Hey, everyone. Good to see you, Bob. Hummus. Good evening, Bomber and everyone. Hummus Hero, another valuable member of the College Football Mafia family. Long-standing, somebody who's been around here. We appreciate so much. Skaven, yes, yes, go Big Red. Hello, Bomber. Good to see you, Skaven, yes, yes. Let's see here. Jackson Johnson, representing the voice of college football. Jackson Johnson. What's up, College Football Mafia Nation? Good to see you, Jackson. Thanks for being here tonight. Let's see here. BYU football. That's Shonsky. Hi, everyone. Good to see you, Shonsky. Let's see here. Jackson. I just want to make sure I give his name. Evil Badger. That is Ryan Willie. $2 super chat. Ryan's also a valuable member of the College Football Mafia family, saying Miami played dirty. So let's talk about that moment or that fact or statement for a few moments. I missed the first half of this game. I saw it later. I went back and watched the first half because I heard so much about it. It did seem like the referees let some pretty crazy hits after the play, or certainly after the plays past the quarterback, let them allow to go. There was a couple I certainly thought that deserved a flag that did not come. The rest of the game, I thought they did a pretty good job. I saw one in the fourth quarter that should have been flagged. So from what I understand, there were 3 or 4 that people had issues with. I only saw 3. How do you feel about that? Do you guys like them letting them play? Because they certainly let the safeties and the DBs play pretty hard, both teams. Hand fighting was allowed. There was pushing and tugging. They were doing NFL type reffing, in my opinion. And maybe as I was watching the replay, I was thinking, why don't we have NFL refs? I believe it was Big 12 refs last night. But if we want the best of the best, why not go to the best of the best? Why not use NFL referees? Because I think then you'd have, unless it's a shared catch, and I'm not going to get into that right now. I think NFL referees do a pretty good job. So, yeah, I agree, Ryan. They definitely let them play. I'm not going to use dirty, but it was aggressive. There's no doubt about it. Let's see here. Go down to more shout outs before I get into my monologue. To Town Hawk, good to see you here, man. To Town Hawk says, don't worry, Bomber. My loathing of Mizzou will keep me warm and toasty in Dallas. Oh, good. Good. I want you to stay warm. Loathing of Mizzou. I think that's pretty easy, though, right? I understand that completely. That's a Kansas Jayhawk there, loathing my Mizzou. Anyways, that's fantastic. One more comment, and then I will get to my 10-minute little thing here. Big Lubbock. I don't know how Oklahoma State thinks they're going to compete with University of North Texas football team. I don't know how Penn State thinks they're going to compete impersonating the Iowa State Cyclones. So this is a case study. If there's anybody that's watching right now that's in college that has to do like a master's thesis or something like that, it would be very interesting to see what the success rate is of teams that take coaches from other programs. Kurt Signetti did it with JMU and takes them to their schools and how successful they are over the first 2 years. Signetti just set the bar pretty high in 2 years, winning a national championship. What do you guys think about that? Is Iowa State? Well, we know Iowa State's going to take a hit of some sort because they lost 3/4 of their team. Oklahoma State took University of North Texas's team essentially because their coaches came from those places, right? So is Penn State going to be successful? Is Oklahoma State going to be successful? Time will tell on those things. Utah last year went from 5-7 to 10-2. That's pretty good. So now we have Utah's a pretty good example. We have Indiana is a pretty good case study. I'm sure there's others. Those are the most recent. Is that the way to win now? You get an entire program that's been together and you bring them all in. If Penn State wins, if Oklahoma State wins this year, you're going to see more and more liberties coaches and teams go to, I don't know, Missouri. No, that's not going to happen. But you get my point. Another example that didn't happen immediately is Colorado and Jackson State. Right? Jackson State came over. They were all what his luggage came in, and first year they were not good. 4-8, 5-7. The next year they were 9-4. That's pretty successful. But then the third year it went down again. So is that what we're looking at? If I had to guess, I would say 2 years is, if you can't do it in 2 years, whoever you bring over is not going to help you get there the third year. That's my opinion. The reason the 2 years matters is because you can bring over juniors or very advanced sophomores from your team from a Jackson State, bring them in, and since they've been with you so long, you can turn them around and have them win, a la Kurt Signetti. I believe 2 years works for that. But unless you win the national championship or unless you take your team to the college football playoff, how do you know whether that's really the payoff after 2 years? I don't know. I will be very interested to find out. Colorado, not so much, right? Not so much. So we'll have to talk about that. That'll be something we'll have to discuss. But that's a good question and good comments there, Lubbock. I appreciate that. Another comment here we just had come in. Bulls fan, that's USF in the house. Good to have you here, Bulls fan. Breaking Big 12 championship game will be on Friday, December 4th at 8 p.m. Eastern, as reported by Pete Thamel. Friday, December 4th. So the Big 12's given up on that noon game for the Big 12 championship game. I kind of think now they're going to go head-to-head with who? Pac-12 does Friday? I think the Pac-12 does Friday. I think it's a good move. I said after this year it was probably a good move. The 12 p.m. slot just doesn't work. And that's even by saying the teams, it got the biggest crowd they've ever had live at that game, BYU versus Texas Tech, and the most viewed championship game of all time was that noon slot. So maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's actually something that would work better. I don't know. We'll find out Friday evening. It's a live or die situation. Pac-12 used to have that slot. I don't know. I'm kind of going back on what I just said. Maybe it's not the greatest idea. I don't know. We will see. Time will tell. One more comment. Stephen Vitt. Good to see you, Stephen. Thanks for being here tonight. Just got done with an interview. I've been a busy Bobcat this week. Excellent. Keep those interviews going, Stephen. Stephen has his own show. Stephen, go ahead and put your show link, anything you want, social media in the comment section so people know how to find your stuff. I have no problem with that. Yeah, I don't know what else to say about the Big 12 championship game. That'll be something we'll have to explore over the next coming months. Okay, so I'm going to set my timer. I'm going to bring up the thing I want to talk about. Make sure I get the right link. Here we go. This one? Oh, wait, where did it just go? There we go. Okay. So this is going to be my 10 minutes. You can time me. There we go. All right, the last thing I want to talk about before we get to your comments, I take your calls, is this. And I hope everybody can read this. This is the best way I can see to have you guys view it. Breaking news today, and it was not really breaking because everybody was expecting it. Duke is suing, is it Darian Mensah, right? The quarterback who's supposed to be going to Miami, sues him to stay or to stop his transfer out, his transfer portal request, deny it, and then to restrict the movement of his NIL rights, which is the only thing right now they can attach. And so I'm just going to read a few things here, and then I'll give you my comment on it. Michael McCann, this was a simple and dirty. Let me copy the link. Michael McCann says, breaking, Duke sues QB Darian Mensah to keep him at Duke, arguing he signed an NIL deal and must stay. This case has far-reaching implications for college sports. It's also one where Mensah will have defenses. What that means is this is now a lawsuit, has nothing to do with the NCAA. The NCAA denied, or no, sorry, I'm mixing two things. The NCAA isn't party to this suit. This is just between Duke and the NIL rights and the player. So we keep everything on the same page. There is no contract between the universities and these players that restricts their right to move. In fact, they have to by bylaw, NCAA bylaw, the minute a player wants to transfer, the school has to honor the transfer. Where the lawsuit comes in, and where we've seen it in suits previously, is that they can't restrict his movement, but they attach his NIL deal, whatever deal he signed with Duke, and I think it's purportedly $4 million. Yeah, right, $4 million, and we're quibbling over millions here at this point. They don't want to do it. They don't want to let him go. They want to tie him down. So they sued to restrict him. Well, the suit didn't necessarily go the way they wanted to. I follow this up with another comment here from Darian Heitner, who happens to represent Darian Mensah. Let me take that and put that in here. I will read his post. To be clear, there's an injunction hearing in front of a new judge who has no known ties to Duke scheduled for February 2nd. We will seek to move to an earlier date. In the meantime, prior judge indicated from the bench that he will deny, and he did deny, he will deny Duke's request that Darian Mensah be enjoined from entering into the transfer portal, but Mensah is not, for the time being, allowed to enroll at another school or play football at another school before the decision by the next judge. The reason they had to have the judge change is because the original judge was a graduate of Duke and a fan of Duke basketball. I guess he donated some money and some other things. So he had to excuse himself. So it still needs to be assigned to another judge, but the original order that Duke put in to try to stop his movement, the temporary restraining order, was denied. Okay, so we had the lawsuit, then the temporary restraining order was denied. Now you have a player that's sort of sitting in limbo. And the reason Darren's got him there is he doesn't want there to be any legal attachments for them if he moves on. The NIL suit is the thing that we're going to be talking about here moving forward, okay? Then the last, and this again, let me bring this one up. The last comment, and this is again from Michael McCann. Post a link to that. Says, in theory, Darian Mensah could join Miami as a student and play football there, but not sign an NIL deal with Miami. There's a little star next to that. And Duke could control his NIL. But that won't happen. Duke wants to keep him, and he wants to join Miami at a better NIL deal. So that's the conflict. Duke wants to keep him. Miami says, we're not only going to give you a deal, we're going to give you a better deal. NIL is functioning as employment. And so this is the final line, and this is what I want to talk about for the next couple minutes here. NIL right now, and Mitt Winter has said this over and over and over again, NIL right now is functioning as an employment contract, but it's an employment contract with quotes around it because there are no such things in college sports, right? Colleges don't want to give employment or collective bargaining agreement rights to athletes. And you say, why not? Right? This will not be the last video or short I do on this, by the way. Why don't they want to do that? Well, the colleges don't want to do it because if they do that, let's say it's a CBA Whatever they contract, they are now committed to doing. Right now, they sort of just see the rules as they want them. And if a player wants to move, they threaten to restrict all these things, or we're going to sue you with a lawsuit for damages, these type of deals. They don't, why would they want to give up that flexibility to do that? And they would commit to things like unemployment, maybe disability insurance. There's all kinds of things come with an employment or a CBA. Sorry, I got to keep up on my timer. My bad. And that's why they don't want to do it. I mean, that's very simple. There's 30 other reasons why they don't want to do it. But at this point, the NIL, which is name, image, and likeness, is functioning as an employment agreement. But when this lawsuit comes through, just like the kid at Washington, they could sue the kid for damages for signing the contract for his personal brand. But they can't sue him to stop it. And they're trying again here. Duke's trying again here. But up to this point, you can't sue him to stay at your school because you do not have anything that enjoins him to stay at your school. You don't have an employment agreement with him. You don't have a CBA. And so these schools want it both ways. They want the flexibility to be the boss and to sort of dictate everything and not really have to answer to anybody. No, certainly not the athletes. And then at the same time, they want the flexibility to say, no, we're going to restrict your movement because we're going to keep your NIL rights. By the way, Miami, they can still pay him. They can still give him payment. He just would get paid in a different way. And because NIL is such a Wild West right now, there's really no way that changes until we have a few things. Either we have a change in legislation, right? Congress comes in and does something. We have a lawsuit that sets a precedent that other schools or other judges can then use to build case law around this. Or third, we just give what really we need is the employment agreements. Do a CBA. Give the players the respect for representation. Bargain with them for basic, simple rights. The majority of college football and basketball is a little different. Let's just stay in football. Majority of college football players do not make $6 million a year. That's the upper 1%, right? Everybody else is in the $50,000 to $100,000 range. They're going to want more controls. They're the ones that are going to want more power. Not the guys at the top who are never going to vote for it. So that's where this sort of changes. That's the thing we have to keep tracking. So this lawsuit, and I would tell everybody to follow Michael McCann. I would tell everybody to follow Darren Heitner. Let me bring this up. Everybody follow Darren Heitner, who knows what he's doing. He's the one representing these athletes. There's others on here. Pete Thamel was the first one to post this. And I'll finish with this. Pete Thamel says, key pieces of Duke's lawsuit against Darren Mensah. It requests a temporary restraining order. I already told you they didn't get that. And a preliminary injunction preventing him from entering the portal. Enrolling in another school and playing football. Licensing his NIL. That's how this whole thing started, is this original lawsuit. So that's bottom line. We just need to have something better in place. Just need to have something better in place. And I don't think this is it. I don't think setting up lawsuits and restricting player movement is the way to go. What needs to be fixed? Well, you have lots of things. The calendar needs to be fixed for when you can enter the portal, although players can enter in the portal anytime. All they have to do is unregister from their school and go to another school. But there's legal attachments that follow you if you do that. Change the portal time. Change the National Letter of Intent Day. You can change how players actually transfer from school to school. Put in restrictions based on more the school calendar and not so much the athletic calendar. Change it to a spring window. right? These are really, really, really important deals. And I think it's something that all of us have to get involved in. I'm going to finish with this, and I love this. This is a great summary I just got from Friends Call Me Sean, and we are done. That is 10 minutes. We're going to finish with this. I'm going to go with this comment. This is great. And I didn't tee up Sean for this. So, Sean, thank you so much for putting this out there for me to wrap this thing up. Considering the current Miami, Duke, Mensah situation, how does the Big Ten feel about Miami as a potential member? Miami didn't respect Wisconsin and their memorandum of understanding with their defensive back who just played in the championship game. Now Duke's valid contract, not an ideal partner. Miami's not making friends, but in my opinion, they're good enough they don't have to. I think Miami can go out and set the table themselves. And everybody else needs to pay attention to the way they're doing stuff. Until the rules are massively changed, it's going to be a mercenary world of college football. It just is. And I would recommend everybody watching this right now, everybody watching this on record as I finish this monologue, as you're going through and you're supporting your schools, do what Mark Cuban has done for Indiana. Do what he did from Indiana. The last 2 weeks, he said he has donated money to the Indiana Sports NIL Fund, specifically so they can keep the position they've just earned. Everybody should want to be Indiana. That's where I'm going to finish. That's my first monologue. I hope you guys liked it. That topic is I'm passionate about. 4715. Let me write that down. We need to track it. We can't forget about it. It really matters. And the only way that we're going to be able to affect change is if we get involved for our schools. And now I just posed the question to you guys. What do you guys want to see? I guarantee, depending on your school, I can almost guarantee, you tell me your school in the comment section, I can almost predict how you look at this. And maybe that's a game we should play one day. It's crazy to imagine that, and I'm going to add this, and then I'm going to go back here. It is crazy to imagine a world where the schools actually have the opportunity to pay what the blue blood schools have been getting for decades, and that is money to athletes. They've been getting money to athletes forever. And yeah, sometimes they've been caught. Miami's been caught a couple times. Had issues other places, SMU, long time ago. But everybody was doing it. And now the people that are complaining are the ones that had the power, mostly the SEC, had the power and have now had that power mitigated by NIL and the transfer portal. In my opinion, we should be celebrating that. I think more schools are going to do what Utah has done. They're going to have to get big name boosters. They're going to give them as much money as they need, as often as they need it, or they're going to have to come up with a way to finance greater NIL participation. The chance, and I said this the day it was announced, the chance that the House agreement is engaged and completely enforced in full is almost nil. I'm going to do a short, one of the many I want to do. I'm going to do a short where I go back and I bring up my very first reaction to the announcement that the House agreement had been put in force. And I said it was never going to be implemented 100%. There was no way. And immediately there were lawsuits. Immediately people are challenging the system. Some have failed. Some have sort of been abated, and others are sort of in process still. The Wisconsin and Miami DB guy, I can't remember his name. That's still in the courts. This Duke thing, they're trying to expedite it so that, well, Heitner is trying to expedite it so he can get his player to move to a different school. Duke probably wants to slow it down so it really reduces his opportunities to leave, because how long can Miami wait to get another quarterback? It's absolutely broken. And in my opinion, it's just like, and I know a lot of, I'm going to say something, and I'm not doing this to gin all you guys up, but I've always sort of had this opinion. I have not been, I have never been against steroids in sports. As far as I'm concerned, as long as they're administered by real doctors and they're managed, I don't see where there's a problem. If that's the price you want to pay. And I look at NIL the same way. If you can get the resources, everybody should have the opportunity to do it. Everybody could be Indiana. They just proved it. So maybe I'll add that to my monologue as the finish. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed that. We will be doing more of those moving forward in our shows. I will work on the timer. This is really cool. This is really cool. I need to come up with a way. I hope you guys can hear me so that you guys can see me. I wonder, what does this do? Minimize? No, that didn't do it. Maybe is there a way to no, it won't let me do that either. Anyway, I'm going to come up with a timer that you guys can see maybe up in a corner that we'll go through. That way you'll know when we're doing our monologues. But it's not just me. Mullen's going to do them. Ute's going to do them anyway. All right. I think that's all the news. I went through all my links. I hope really quick again, if you're in that southeastern corridor from Texas all the way to Georgia, buckle up for horrible weather for the next 4 to 6 days and go do your emergency preparedness stuff. I worry about you guys. You've been in my prayers since last night when I found out that it was going to be a global thing. No, I didn't name every one of you, but I did as a class. All of you viewers, I very much want you to be safe. But the biggest thing is the losing power, not having access to running water, and then, of course, being able to stay warm. Those are the biggest thing, and I hope everybody does that. Okay, let's see here. We have Shonsky says, Bomber, you're an idiot on steroids. Okay, well, look, I love it. Baseball was better when everybody was juicing up. That's all I'm saying. Creatine. Baseball's never been more popular than when we were in a home run race, or Barry Bonds was hitting 73 home runs. It's your life. If you want to do that, go ahead and go out and do it. It's not my. All I'm saying is I think they should be legal. That's all I was saying. All right, let's open up the phone lines. I've got extra time tonight. This is cool. I usually only have an hour, and I guess maybe tonight I'm right at an hour. Let me bring up my ticker that has the phone number on it. Let me actually change this really quick. I didn't realize that still had playoff on it. Give me 1 second. Let me get rid of this because we won't be doing that for another 10 months or whatever. All right, here we go. If you want to call me and talk to me, I'd love to hear from you. Right now, I have everything ginned up, I believe. Let me turn on the phone lines. 801-899-6203. Call me right now, and I will talk about whatever you want to talk about. Yeah, let's do this. Let's open up the phone lines. You guys call me right now. That's cool. David McKenzie said he might be able to join me on Friday to talk about this NIL stuff. That would be awesome. I really respect David McKenzie. I will continue to read comments. We'll go through them as I'm waiting for you guys to call in. But I'd love to hear from you. And just know that if you put Seahawks in your comment, I'm more apt to read it. Just like if I read my name, Bomber, in the comments, I read those too more often. All right, let's work backwards. Daniel Gygax. 25 years ago, about half the U.S. Air Force was on EAS Andro, and we know that number was higher in the U.S. Marine Corps and Army. It was causing heart issues. Okay, see? I love it. Let science dictate usage. That's how I go with it. Let's go with it. If it's a problem, then say why it's a problem. Come up with what are workarounds. Are there any workarounds? All I'm saying is it needs to be in the public view instead of just saying, don't do it. Because we know everybody's doing it anyway. They're just finding different ways to do it. I have I have opinions about a lot of things that I think government needs to be in less of our lives. But obviously, safety is an issue. So if you prove something shouldn't be used, as Daniel rightly says here, then we won't use it, right? If it can be proved. Go.
Call from
Daniel.
Daniel, Mr. Gygax, how you doing?
Doing good.
Excellent.
I'm going to disagree with you on collective bargaining.
Okay, let's go. I want to hear it. Let's go.
Okay. And the reason why is who is going to be the bargaining agent for the players? That right there becomes a real issue because players change so quickly in college sports. And also, we're not just looking at football.
Okay.
How is basketball going to be ran? Men's and women's basketball. How are they going to have a bargaining unit? And then let's say volleyball. How is track and field? How is this? How is that? How is all this going to be bargained whenever you have a university that is limited to how much time they can put into legal matters?
Who has assets or who has access to more legal resources? A player or a university?
Oh, it seems like players now, but we know every university has.
Okay.
We know every university has a team of lawyers on retainer.
They do. So now, if we just assume that the university has more resources, I don't think it's a problem with treating each event as a standalone lawsuit. Right now, that's horrible. If we had a CBA, then we would be negotiating against a contract that would have been agreed, and then there wouldn't really be a reason for a lawsuit. So you started off your comment with by saying who represents the players in a CBA, right? I think that's a really
now here, like I said, in the NFL, NBA, whatever, each team has usually, I wouldn't say senior player, but somebody that's been around quite a bit.
Yes,
that is the rep for the Players Association.
It is
like the NFL Players Association, the NBA, whatever. Baseball right now, that's a total number mess. But but baseball died September 26th in Oakland.
But what's the problem though, Daniel? Are we talking about it's just a pain in the butt? Because each school could have a representative that would represent the players. That 136 of them in one room. Is that really so hard to manage?
It can be.
Now
if we're just going to talk the D4 teams,
okay,
we might be able to get something. But even then, you're still leaving out one school that will not have to follow any rules because they're not in a conference.
No, I don't think you do conferences. I think you do schools. 136
even then, that
schools.
becomes. Yeah, if you have 136 schools, will Marshall have the same view on how things are ran than an Ohio State?
No, that's the purpose of a players union. You have you do majority rules. Of course, but the original contract, if you really want to go by this objection, what I would say is instead of saying no, they shouldn't, it just wouldn't be easy to implement and it would be difficult. And how do you really make that work? And the argument actually should be who's the initial ones to negotiate the initial CBA? Who are the ones that would represent right now a CBA that would carry forward for the next, let's say, 10 years?
Universities want it. Players don't care because they're getting paid.
No, hang on. That is not true. The 1% don't want changes.
Okay.
Don't you think don't you think the backup linebacker that's making only $25,000 might want to make $150 if that was the negotiated minimum?
Yeah, but there won't be. That's way too much.
Oh, I don't know what it is. I can't say what it is. I'm saying that would be part of the negotiation, though.
Yeah, I mean, but okay, let's look at the most flawed professional league that we have.
Baseball.
Baseball,
Yeah.
of course.
Yep.
Baseball right now, the Players Association are just going nuts because the word salary cap is just being mentioned at all.
Of course. Yeah.
The NBA, they have they have a luxury tax. Baseball has one too, but they're happy to cut that check because they don't care.
Okay.
I mean, we saw the contracts that came out of Los Angeles the past week. But whenever you're looking at football, that's a little bit more different. That's different. And the only reason why is you've got a lot more players that you're going to have to cut checks to. Baseball is only 25. With college football, you're looking at 105. And now, what does Marshall want? What does Ohio State want?
Well, at the end of the day, whatever the playing organization is, and if it's tomorrow, it would be 136. If it's after there's consolidation more, and it goes to let's say 70, then it would only be 70. It's whoever is absolutely recognized as the ones representing the Division 1A of college football.
Correct.
Yeah, it would obviously have to change depending on what that is constituted with. But at the end of the day, there's a lot more of the Fresno States, right?
Yes.
There's more Fresno States than there are Ohio States.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. And I don't know what Fresno State's numbers are, but they're probably the same as Marshall's. I know what Marshall's numbers are. My brother, I've got so much family that's graduated from Marshall.
Right.
So I know Marshall's numbers.
Right.
And I've seen them play. Heck, I met the coach once. This was years ago. So he's from Boone County, West Virginia, too.
Think about it like this, Daniel. There is a way that the tail can wag the dog, and that would be if they decide if the schools finally break down and say, yes, we'll do a CBA, but we're only going to do it for the schools in the A4 in Notre Dame.
Now this was another thing that was brought.
They could do that, by the way.
Now this was another thing that was brought up was let the conferences have their own CBAs. Well, what the Big Ten would want and what Conference USA will want are two different things.
Yeah, I'm not doing it from conference level.
Yes.
I'm doing it from the schools themselves. But I get what you're saying. Yeah, there are challenges. There's no doubt about it. I'm not saying they're not. But until we get something that represents the players, we're going to end up with these lawsuits every transfer portal, before the season, end of the season type stuff.
Well, the thing that happened with Wisconsin, Miami, and what's happening with Duke and Miami, that should be a part of contract law, that you're
if it gets
guaranteed
settled.
X amount you're guaranteed X amount of money. You have to do X amount of things for insert name of university. And the problem that you have is that I don't know what the contract said. I don't know what the contract from Wisconsin said. I don't know what the contract at Duke said. But you would think that those things have gone through the legal rigmarole, that everybody said, okay, this is a really good contract. Nobody can go anywhere for the next 2 years.
Okay.
So obviously somewhere in that contract, there's a loophole, or that somebody found a loophole.
Right.
But then again, you had the guy that was going to leave UW
to
go to LSU. Then all of a sudden, no, you can't leave Washington. You're stuck here.
Uh-huh.
And it's going to make things interesting up there in Washington, because they already signed a quarterback thinking that he was leaving.
Yeah, no, that's totally true. I think let's just end it on this note on this particular issue. I think the CBA is a catch-all for a lot of things. When I say CBA, I'm
Yeah,
really I'm sort of doing shorthand instead of saying
yeah,
you could do contractors, you could do employment agreements, right? That's
yeah,
just a catch-all term. It could be any of those things, but I'm envisioning one of two things. Either
yeah,
you have one player's representation that represents all the autonomous schools plus Notre Dame, and there's one for each school, not one for each conference, but one for each school, and they would go in and they would vote for something. Or you don't do it for those, you do it for all of college football, which is 135, 136 teams, and
yeah.
every school gets a representative, right? And
I'm a fan of making everybody on the football team 1099 employees and just
I
be done
I
with
do
it.
know
Yeah,
that. Yeah. And
yeah,
I'm not averse to that either, but there are
yeah.
for every one of these things there's negatives.
Oh
Nothing
yeah,
is
because if
perfect. If it
you're a
was perfect,
1090,
we would have done it already if it was perfect.
yeah, if you're a 1099 employee, it falls onto the player to go ahead and he has to do quarterlies, he has to do all
Right.
the taxes. It
Right.
becomes a big mess on that.
Yes.
And then is that athletic department now, if they're going to pay players with 1099s, are they still a not-for-profit?
Right.
That becomes another mess. I mean,
Well, and there's
that's
ways
something I don't know about.
the one thing about the United States of America is every law can be amended.
Yes.
Everything can be changed. Nothing has to stay exactly the way it is unless it's negotiated that way. And I'll leave you with this final note. A CBA in the NFL is locked down. Don't
Oh,
you
yes,
think
it is.
the third left tackle on the team, if they have a third left tackle, wants to make as much as the starting quarterback? Of course they do. And yet each team is represented by one player in the player union. So
Yes,
each team having a rep going to the CBA for 32 NFL teams, that works. So why can't we do the same thing for 136 or whatever all the A4 is in Notre Dame? It can be done. There just has to be
yes,
a will and a way. This
yes.
is not something that can be just wish casted away. It's not going away, guys. It's getting worse. If anything, it's not getting any better.
True.
So, hey, by the way, my Seahawks just absolutely took apart the 49ers.
Yeah, I know. I watched it, and
I did too.
I'm I'm a Steelers fan, and
I do know. Yes, I know.
yeah,
I
the
know.
9-8 Super Bowl baby. But then again, they're hiring a coach for the first time since
I know. Since the Hoover
in
administration, I got you.
19 years.
Yeah, I
The
know.
the last coach officially fired from the Pittsburgh Steelers, 1968.
Yes.
It's been a while.
Yeah, yeah. The run from Chuck Noll has been pretty remarkable, and I think you're going to miss Mike Tomlin personally, but sometimes change is good.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. Everybody complains about Tomlin, but he's one of those guys. You're going to get 9 to 10 wins out of him,
Right?
And there's a lot of teams that will just absolutely give anything to be consistent.
Agreed. All right, I'm going to let you go, Daniel. Thank you so much.
Bye.
We'll talk to you later. Let's try this.
Call from
Caden the Diesel Freak.
Caden the Diesel Freak. How you doing tonight?
Oh, Nathan, I'm glad to hear your voice, my friend.
Oh, good.
You know what? This is something that I thought would never happen, but you know what?
What?
It's happened.
Okay.
Indiana as national champions, and I know their fans are going more crazier than the ending of Star Wars Episode 6, Return of the Jedi.
Okay.
When the island of misfits, a group of misfits, took down an entire dominating force, and Indiana just took down a former, dynasty of college football in the University of Miami Hurricanes. And I know their fans are going all crazy over the internet. Oh my gosh, Nathan, it is driving me up the wall.
Okay.
Ugh.
Well, it's we're past it now, right? We're past it. We're on to now 2026. What's your thoughts about my comments and stories tonight?
So far, so good. But you know what? The thing is, I wanted to make this mention, Nathan.
Okay.
We need to go to a 16-team playoff with no bye weeks. That's the one thing that I hated the most about the last year's playoffs. The bye weeks, oh, man.
It's brutal, and it's only getting worse. It's going to finish a week later next year.
Oh, that's even more brutal.
It is brutal. It's absolutely brutal.
It's more brutal because now teams are going to be sitting around for like a week, and now it's like, what are we even doing besides training? We should be playing a game right now, kicking somebody for 60 minutes around. As an Ohio State fan, that upsets me a bit.
Okay.
Because I'd rather see my Ohio State Buckeyes go out of the football field and absolutely hammer somebody by at least 40, 50 points. I think that's what I want because that's what I love to see on a Saturday. I mean, sure, nobody likes a wall game, but when you have a great defense and a great offense, it's going to happen.
Okay.
Well, I'm not trying to wave my ego around here.
No,
Nathan.
I asked for your opinion. That's good. I appreciate that.
But, that's just my 2 cents, Nathan. I mean, I could be an idiot for saying that, but you and the college football mafia family can let me know if I'm being an idiot.
I think you're not being an idiot, Caden. You're doing just fine.
Okay, I just wanted to double check and verify.
Okay.
But, oh my gosh. If the conferences don't figure out whether they're going to do a 12-team playoff or a 16-team playoff, it's going to drive me nuts.
Okay.
Because this whole situation is just going to go downhill from here.
Okay.
Oh man, it drives me up the wall faster than, oh my God, Jeffrey from Only Talk Sports blowing up my Twitter.
Oh, all right.
Well,
I don't know anything about that. Do you have any comments about Indiana really quick?
I mean, I'm just going to tell Indiana, good luck holding on to that championship because Ohio State's coming after that national championship.
Boy.
And we're coming back to get it. We're going to win it back. And we will become 10-time undisputed national champions. And we'll show you what true champions look like. Not some one trick pony. We'll show you what real champions look like. Fact. And I'm not saying that with ego.
No, I get it.
I'm saying that as a fact. Look at the resume of Ohio State. 9 times undisputed national champion. Most Rose Bowl appearances. Most Cotton Bowl appearances. Fun fact. So,
okay.
I mean, we have one of the many most Big Ten titles in all the Big Ten conference, numbered by Michigan, but we beat Michigan in that race. I mean, what's there to say about Ohio State except we're a good team? But that's a whole other conversation for another day. But Nathan, I just figured I'd give a call and save my thoughts because
I appreciate that.
Oh man, it's been driving me up the wall. So.
Okay.
Nathan, it's always good to hear from you, sir.
You too. Thank you so much for the gifted membership. I appreciate that so much, Caden.
Yeah, and people, please don't forget to click the like button, subscribe, and follow the College Football Mafia on all platforms. Be sure to follow Nathan. By the way, he posts some great stuff on Twitter. Let me just say that. You post some really good stuff on Twitter. So be sure to follow these guys on all social media. Dale Gygax, Mullen, I got to give a big shout out to Mullen. Oh man, you guys have been putting the work in, and especially Dale Gygax for the shorts.
He has been doing that. Yes. So, well, thank you so much. I appreciate it, Caden. You have a great rest of your week. Stay warm, my friend. Okay.
Oh my gosh, I'm trying to stay warm, Nathan, because I've been working in the trash lot for the last week at the landfill. So at least
careful.
You know what the thing is, Nathan? I've been trying something, and it's been really helping out. And I'll tell you what, I haven't freeze my arms off, so
That's good.
I don't know if you ever heard of Tiger Balm.
I don't know.
So it's used by NFL like college football players, so they use it on their skin. It
Okay.
helps close like the pores on their skin, so your arms, your hands, or your legs don't freeze, and you pretty much just keep body heated, especially if you're like working outside or you're playing a game. I've used it before, and it's awesome.
Tiger Balm.
I still use.
Okay.
Yep, used by college athletes, NFL athletes, NFL Hall of Famers have used it. I mean, I could go down the list, but
okay,
you get my point.
I do. I'll put that in the comment section. People can look that up. That's coming off of your recommendation. Thanks so much, Caden. We'll talk to you soon, okay?
Yes, sir. OHIO and go Bucks.
See you later. Bye-bye. I forgot to do clapping after Daniel. Still getting used to running these sounders, but we're trying. We're doing a good job, I think. Let me get to some more comments. Please, if you want to join the show, call in right now, 801-899-6203. I'd love to talk to you. I'd love to hear your opinions. It should be, some really interesting stuff that I appreciate your comments on, and I'm going to go through a couple right now. Couple from here, Dennis Hattie, who's been a viewer for a while. Dennis, thank you so much. I appreciate you being here and your subscription on YouTube. Thank you so much. If you're watching this channel and you're new, and there are some new people here tonight, make sure you hit that subscribe button. It's free. Doesn't cost you anything. Give us a thumbs up. Let us know how we're doing in the comment section. And consider becoming a member of the College Football Mafia family. Just hit that join button right in the middle of our main. And, be a part of the family. Let's go here.
Call from
Town Hawk.
To Town Hawk. How we doing, brother?
Hey, doing all right. How's it going, Nate?
Good. It's good to talk to you.
It's officially the off season, man.
It is. It is the off season. There's no doubt about it.
That's okay. That just means we're one day closer to kickoff, right?
It is. Absolutely. What's on your mind? What's going on tonight?
Well, number one, that game last night, that was pretty good for a national title game. You know, didn't expect it to be as competitive as what it was, but that was fun. And you know, there was a lot of defense being played instead of the offense being featured so much. I thought it was going to be more of a shootout.
Yeah, for sure. I'm just writing names down there. I think, well, I predicted before the game, I predicted the score to be 10 more points each team. I had Indiana winning by 2 and not by 3. I thought it would be closer, but I didn't think it would be a defensive battle. I thought it would be an offensive battle.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, I bet, you know, I heard something from Feinbaum today about having SEC teams having to look themselves in the mirror. I wonder if there aren't people just they're going to copy Indiana down to, you know, as much as they can, but I don't think they can, because one of the things that guy did, I mean, he did get a lot of guys that were experienced, but I'd have to say his talent assessment is far beyond others of his peers, at least for his system of ball.
Yes.
Because he got guys, and they weren't all 5 stars, that's for sure, but man, that team plays together. They don't make a whole lot of mistakes. I mean, just crisp.
They hadn't really quick. Let me give you a stat. They hadn't had a fumble since the first half of the first game. They played 16 games and had 1 fumble all year long. Can you believe that? That is insane.
That doesn't happen.
No.
That doesn't happen. I mean, college football, there's going to be, you'd think there's going to be turnovers, right?
Yes, for sure.
And mistakes, because, I mean, that's just the nature of the game. These are 18 to 20-year-old guys. They're not perfect, and you would think they were going to turn the ball over at a much higher rate than what they do in the pros.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I think that at the end of the day, what we are doing is is managing success with players and schools that didn't have access to that before. The whole table was shifted against them. That's why we have repeat champions and why we have such a small pool of schools that have won national championships since 1970. It's pretty remarkable.
I don't know how to feel about. I mean, I'm glad that a non-traditional power won the title game.
Right.
I don't get me wrong. I love that. The fact they're from one of the P2 conferences, that's kind of a wash for me. But I think there are a lot of football fans that are going to be more engaged outside of the P2 now that they've seen, you know, a non-traditional power and not one of the regular players got to win. And
right.
You know, it's going to be hope, because if they get the right guy and they can spend the right amount of money, then they've got a shot.
And I think you can even extend that more and say it's a bit of Moneyball managing and constituting, putting a team together where you don't have to have outright stars. You just have to have the correct pieces all pulling in the same direction at the same pace and at the same time. And the whole is stronger than the constituted parts of maybe teams that have featured talent, but then maybe not so much in the other areas. It proves the axiom that a team will beat a single player every time.
Nate, I'm going to start a new business. I think sabermetrics for football.
There you go. Do it, man. Let's go.
Well, no, I mean, and that's somewhat joking, but
right.
What do you think? What do you think these guys are going to throw at their budgets for talent assessment and doing it exactly like what you're saying? I guarantee you they're going to be bringing in extra people, call them consultants or new athletic director for talent assessment, whatever you want to call it. But they're going to throw money at this like you wouldn't believe, trying to squeeze every ounce out of it.
And I think what you've got is you've also got different types of play in each one of these conferences. We saw that the year before last with Utah. They thought they were strutting and they'd done really well in the Pac-12. I warned Wild Ute. We play different football here in the Big 12, and they got thumped the next year. BYU went through the same thing its first year in the Big 12. I think when you move conferences or you add different coaches to different conferences, there is a stepped up, get used to it stage, right? There is that you have to adapt and then take what you've learned and put your special spin on it. Signetti's been the best at it so far.
Yeah, I'd say in the previous era, another one that comes to mind is Patterson at TCU.
He did a good job as well. I agree. Yep.
When they came into the Big 12, they well, I want to say they had a losing record, or 4-8 or 5-7, and within 3 or 4 years they were in the title game.
Yes.
So.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think Gary Patterson did a great job. I think he's now going to be a defensive coordinator somewhere, and so whoever got him did a good job because he's good.
USC, I think, is where I heard he was going.
I'm sort of leaning USC's way to do better next year because Gary Patterson knows how to coach defense.
Yeah.
So, do you have a final word about either Indiana or? We've wrapped up 2025 and the first month of 2026. Anything else you want to say about those that's on top of mind?
Well, off the top of my head, Rock and Rant. No reason for the guy to hang his head. His team had a phenomenal season. Lord love him. I have no idea what he paid for those tickets.
He told me a lot.
My friend went to Miami Law School, and she told me base was $1,000. So I can only imagine how expensive a weekend that could have been. I hope he got to hang out on the beach though. That's never a bad thing in January.
You'll have to watch his next show and ask him. I know this. I traded texts with him, and he said, "I'm really grateful I didn't pay the highest amount to watch the game, which at the time I think was $4,200 or something for a ticket in the 300 level. So, yeah, I know it was expensive, but it wasn't the most.
That's a used Toyota Camry.
I know, right? I know, it's crazy to watch one game. And yet, I will tell you this, I would sell a lot of stuff to go to a BYU championship game.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, for all your other listeners that are in the area, I know here in Texas we had one of these freeze outs a few years ago that it was similar weather and it was down to, 0 or below 0 temperatures. So the only thing I could say is, yeah, stock up on food. Make sure to drip your faucets for sure because they're not very insulated down here. Make sure you've got your heater going and make sure you have an exit plan or a backup plan for somebody's place to stay in case you do lose power.
Very good. Thank you so much for saying that. I appreciate that.
Yeah, man. And got to take care of each other. That's for sure.
That's absolutely sure. If you need anything, give me a holler.
Will do. All right,
Okay.
Nate. You have a great one this week, okay?
You too. Thanks so much, Town Hawk. We'll talk to you later.
All right. Have a good one, bud.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
I love it. That was fantastic. Thank you to Town Hawk for joining the show. Always great comments. Yeah, I think we're at a point where we want everybody to be safe. He said drip your faucets. If you're not familiar with that, just open them up a little bit so they're running. They don't freeze up. One of the biggest problems you'll have in some of these areas, especially in the southeast where houses don't have that type of insulation, if you let your lines drip just a little bit, it'll reduce their chance to actually freeze up. So that's excellent advice. I should have brought it up myself. So thank you very much to Town Hawk. I appreciate you calling in. You could be next, 801-899-6203. Call up and let's talk about Indiana or anything else you want to talk about. I'm going to get some more comments here. You guys have been awesome. I've been reading your comments as we've been going in the show. Let me get to a couple here from, I flagged them, from Dennis Hattie. I think 708. I think this is one I wanted to address. Dennis Hattie says an employer cannot require someone under 1099 to work specific hours or be at a specific place for a set amount of time. I don't believe that's true, Dennis, and I think Daniel explained that. If you sign a contract, the contract can have all kinds of restrictions. What they can't do is ask you to do anything that's not in the contract. So you in that regard, you're right. They can't require it if it wasn't part of your contract. But if it was, you're SOL. The contract I'm working under doesn't give me vacation time, and I didn't get paid for the holidays. That pissed me off. I could have negotiated that, and I didn't. That's on me. So there's that. And then there's this other one from Dennis. Let's see. Already did that one. This other one. Engineers are often compensated for what they know and their abilities to contribute to a project and not to man a desk or be present somewhere for a specific set of time. Again, it's all what's said in the contract, Dennis. That's the most important thing. So you may have worked under a contract that was just general, didn't have those requirements. Then yeah, obviously they can't ask you to do those things. But if it's in the contract and you sign it, you're liable to meet those expectations. Anyway, thank you so much for that. Friends call me Sean. Why can't each conference be run like the NFL? Players have a union, even though membership changes every year. Players sign conference contracts. Conference sets revenue cap and NIL cap. NIL over cap needs okay. You could do it by conferences, certainly. Sean, the players need representation in general, but this is where the doing it by conference is a problem because you could have the SEC, their NIL rules and everything else could be X, and the most the Pac-12 can afford is D. They're not even close to the same. They're able to pay more for players, and that immediately puts you in a lower tier, right? That's one way you could break up and actually come up with what I would like to call a super league, where you have schools joining one conglomeration and play football together. You could also do it by conferences. I don't know, but that is the risk. Is if you set it up for one thing, you're only going to be liable for that. You can't go then and complain because you're not getting the other. Where that would become the biggest strength and weakness, or not strength, but biggest weakness would be if you want to move from one conference to another, how do you justify the differences in those contracts? And I would just say the easiest way to do that would be if you have an employer or CBA agreement with a player. One, you're tying them to their work now. You're tying their work to something. And in doing so, you can then restrict or have a piece of what he leaves if he moves on. Boise State loses their starting right tackle and they go to Ohio State. Ohio State has to pay a fee, a buyout to Boise State so they can go out and get another player. Offsets for the work they put in to get them to a point where they are wanted by Ohio State. You still have the different levels of support, but at least one school is being compensated for losing their player. That's another way to go. They're trying to do that now with buyout clauses in contracts. Those are now going into NIL agreements. I think there's only been a couple that have actually been used that way, but doesn't mean we can't do more. Bulldog Mississippi in the house, giving another membership to the College Football Mafia family. Let's get Let's go. Thank you so much, Bulldog Mississippi, for giving a new membership to somebody in the College Football Mafia universe. Tonight it goes to Alexander Smitley. Alexander Smitley. Let me get that right. Alexander Smitley is who received that new gift. I appreciate you paying for that, and Alexander getting in and be able to watch our member videos and shows. Thank you so much, Bulldog Mississippi. A new and valuable, very valuable member for the College Football Mafia universe. He has not only gotten involved giving memberships, but also been involved with comments and letting us know ways that we can improve what we do around here. I really appreciate that so much, Bulldog Mississippi. And that new membership went to Alexander Smitley. Alexander, make sure you say thank you in the comment section for that gifted membership. Let Bulldog Mississippi know you appreciate him giving you something for free. And then for all those that are out there that have received a new membership in the last month, do us a favor and pass that on. I believe in karma, and you get something for free, you pay that on, pay it forward, and give somebody else a new membership, and you will be paid back in blessings. I really appreciate you doing that, Bulldog Mississippi. Thank you so much. And I love these new members because getting people involved in what we're doing around here, that's what I do this for, honestly. More time. Thank you so much, Bulldog Mississippi. Let's go. Anybody want to call in? Again, 801-899-6203. 801-899-6203. Call me up. We've got 15 minutes that I will continue to do comments, and I will take calls. If you guys want me to stick around longer, I certainly will do that for new members or for super chats or super stickers, whatever you want to do to keep me around. I will absolutely do that for you. If you want me to go past quarter till, that's not a problem. Call right now to give me your talk back about Indiana winning the national championship or all this stuff around player movement in college football. 801-899-6203. All right, let's get to see. Sean says, Bomber, you're an idiot. Steroids, really? Okay. Yeah, I played RBI, Nintendo Entertainment System, RBI baseball. That was an arcade game that had the Oakland A's that had Canseco and McGuire back-to-back. Had Dave Stewart pitching. I did not care whether they were on steroids or not. I don't care if the Olympics were on steroids. I don't care as long as everybody's held by the same standard. It's the exact same. You guys should know that already. I shouldn't even have to say that because you know that's how I feel about college football. As long as everybody knows what the rules are, And they are defined. Rules are defined, and then enforcement is put in place. And at the end of the day, everybody's held accountable to the same standard, including the polls, including getting into the college football playoff. As long as everybody knows what they need to do to get in, and we get rid of these committees to choose things, I'm all for it. I'm absolutely all for it. And steroids is the same way. If we find out there's certain steroids that people are using are bad, outlaw them. Make everybody commit to being outlawed, and then let whatever is working at the time be illegal. I understand. Look, you can be, I have no problem with you thinking I'm crazy in that. But again, as long as the rules are the same for everybody, why does it matter? What I hate right now is unequal. We all know some people are juicing in baseball. It's a fact. It's an absolute fact. People in baseball are juicing. Why should they get an advantage nobody else has? Just make it legal for everybody. Anyway, we'll get to some more comments. Let me jump to the bottom here. There we go. Grayson Ganoush. Good to see you, Grayson Ganoush. It's not song, sorry. Grayson Ganoush in the chat. Good to see you. I appreciate you being here tonight. It is called worker misclassification. What is? I am not sure. It is called worker misclassification. Are we talking about the contractors again? Sorry, Grayson. I pulled this up. I thought I knew what it meant. Now that I'm seeing it, if you want to post what you mean by that, it's called worker misclassification. I will bring it up. I'm a little confused what that means right now, Grayson. But I appreciate you being here. Thank you so much for leaving a comment. Just follow that up with something that clears up that statement. I'm happy to go into it. Bulldog Mississippi again. Bring that juice back. Everything was better back then. I agree, Bomber. Baseball has never been more popular than during the Bash Brothers, the 90s, early 2000s baseball. Nope. Baseball almost died, if you didn't know. It almost died in the 90s before we had a massive run for HR, the home run record, and it brought so many people back to baseball, really resurrected it from almost being dead after a long, a lockout. I just think everything's better as long as everybody's on the same page. Let's see here. Get to some more comments. Did Grayson follow up? I haven't seen something from Grayson yet. As soon as I do, I will mark it. Let's see here. Dennis Hattie again. That's exactly what we need. Players hopped up on steroids and Adderall, and universities condoning it. Okay. Let's control it. They're already hopped up. I guess this is my thing, Dennis. They're already doing this stuff. It's just hidden. It's only done by a few. I just hate the hypocrisy. I'm willing to accept less than great for good as long as we get everybody on a general same playing space. We're just not equal. We are absolutely just not equal right now. Anyway, we get some more comments here. No, last friends call me Sean, Daniel. Is there anybody else? New comments. Baseball is more popular now than it was in the steroid. Is that true, Dennis? Per capita? If you could give me a source to that information, I'd love to read it. Send it to me in a DM on Twitter or put it in the comments here and I'll look it up. Absolutely, I'll look it up. Friends call me Sean. What's the difference between a full-time employee and a part-time employee? 30 hours in benefits, maybe limit athletes to no more than 30 hours a week. They already have limits, Sean, on how much they can practice, right? And those are NCAA rules. I would prefer we get rid of the NCAA and have something better running college football, even college basketball, but whatever. We don't. But at least those times generally are being adhered to. It's funny, some rules are easy to follow and others aren't for whatever reason. I just don't know if that's, maybe, I guess, why not? Everything should be on the table. There shouldn't be anything that we exclude just to exclude it. From that standpoint, I'm agreeing with you here. Call me right now, 801-899-6203. 6203. Let's talk. I want to talk to you guys. I'd rather talk to you guys here. So I brought this up. I'm going to move this since nobody's calling me, and I'm going to put it on mute for a minute since nobody had called. Let me bring this up. This is the last recording that I'm going to show tonight. Let me go here. Here we go. This is a repost from J Book. I'm going to copy the link so everybody has access to it, since I'm not the one who created the original post. And let's listen to this here. This is, and I'll break it into pieces. Hopefully, just
and that's what
me.
And
but this is, look at Paul Feinbaum, everybody. That should just make that should make everybody, even SEC fans, just a humble Paul Feinbaum, who said there was no way the Big Ten was winning a national championship again this year, and if they did, he would move out of the country. All right, let's listen to the genius analysis here at the end of the day.
A national championship game for me is always a good opportunity to catch up with ADs and other people from around the country, because it's kind of a celebration of the sport and everyone shows up. And the conversations that I was having over the weekend in Miami, Paul, were that the Big Ten is flush with money.
Okay, that's where I'm going to set us up right there. So flush with money. 2 years ago, right here on this channel, we did an entire show and multiple shorts about how valuable the Big Ten was to the SEC. And we got so much pushback. No way. The SEC has so much more money. There's no way the Big Ten can catch them. At that point, we had just had Michigan won the national championship. And it was Wild Ute who came out and said, here's the data. This is the United States per capita income. Go all across the country. And if you look at the states, including then it was added California, how much money per capita those states had versus how much had in the Southeastern Conference, just those two conferences against each other, it wasn't even really an argument. Outside of Florida and Texas, the SEC isn't filled with a bunch of rich schools. We've thought they are because they won so many championships over so many years. But really, if you think about it, who won those championships? Auburn, Georgia, Florida, Alabama, Texas. Who am I missing? LSU, right? 6. Am I missing one? There might be 7. They all won national championships, and so we just assumed that was the reason. Now we have transfer portal. Now we have NIL movement, and everybody's going to where the money is. And there's some flush centers of gravity. BYU's doing okay. Texas Tech is doing great. The Big Ten in general, though, is exploding. And Indiana getting good has only emboldened the other schools in the conference to do the same thing in the same way. The SEC is freaking out. And that's what he's here to talk about. This is where Feinbaum's like, yeah, maybe I was wrong.
The Big Ten has more money than the SEC. Well, what does that mean? No, they don't. Yeah, they do. If you look at the conference that has the most money, it's the Big Ten. Well, why would you say that? Because 5 years ago, Caleb Downs isn't leaving Alabama to go to Ohio State. Julian Sayin isn't leaving Alabama to go to Ohio State. Well, why do they do that? Because they have more money. Ohio State can just offer more. And that's the way it is now. The money that's flowing around in the Big Ten, it's a cash problem. And we look now at the big picture, Paul. Gone are their days are Nick Saban patrolling the sidelines at Alabama, same with Kirby Smart for that matter, of being able to stockpile all the talent.
Gone are the days, Matt Berry says, of the SEC schools being able to stockpile talent. That's what's changed the game, guys. It has absolutely changed the world we live in. And it makes such a big difference. Big 12 haven't won a playoff game in the last 2 years. They've only gotten one team in the last 2 years. The ACC has had a 50% more teams in, right? They've been able to get 3 teams in compared to 2. And Miami made a run. Rightfully so. They're a very good team. It will prove out over time. That's why we are begging around here for an expanded playoff. That's why we are begging to get rid of the stupid what do they call it? The committee to pick teams. Let's go to analytics. Let's go to stuff that people can lean into with stats and data. Because over time, the schools that have the most money in this current world, it's going to start to show out more. And that means a school like Utah, who's doubling down and putting in their own resources for private equity, private capital, however you want to term that deal, they're committed. They want to be with the big boys, and they're willing to spend the money to do it.
They used to be able to just stockpile all the talent. They were never going to be in danger of losing any of them. Now, if you have a coaching switch or a player that doesn't like something, they know Michigan, who, by the way, outbid LSU for Bryce Underwood. This didn't used to happen. And that's where I think the biggest conversation has to stop and start. Whereas people think the SEC is flush with money, they are, but they don't have Big Ten money. They're flush with talent, everything down here in the South, but that doesn't mean as much because the Big Ten is just going to throw them cash.
No, and we're talking billionaires now, and outside of Texas and Texas A&M, the list of billionaires starts to get really thin. Yeah. I can tell you, in the state of Alabama, there are 2 billionaires, only 2 in the entire state. They're both Auburn supporters. Alabama doesn't have a billionaire. And why is a billionaire important, Matt? Because they can throw around money. You can throw around money if you're worth $800 billion too. But it's a little bit easier if you're a billionaire to give your school, not only to put your father's name on the business building, but to give your NIL fund whatever it needs. And
okay, so can everybody? This is going to be the off season. Bookmark me, clip this out, put it on Twitter. This is going to be everybody's off season from the SEC. Last year it was we should have had 7 teams in. This year it's going to be this. It's going to be this. Bookmark this link. I already shared it with you. Bookmark this link and replay it over and over again. Cut this part of my show out and bookmark it and post it over and over again. This is going to be the future until something changes. The SEC is going to start screaming about disproportionate talent moving different places, and NIL is broken and everything needs to be put back the way it was. The SEC is going to start screaming for things like the SCORE Act, even more than they already were. They want more regulation. They want NIL to be dialed back down. They don't want anybody else like Indiana to win a national championship. The only way they can do that is by controlling the money. There's 2 ways. Controlling the money, controlling access. That's how you do it. And they want none of what we've currently got going on right now.
And you can't call the commissioner of the SEC and say, hey, you have to solve this problem. You can't print money unless you got your keys to the printing press. And it's a problem. And I think people are theorizing on where did the SEC go wrong. I don't think it's a collective situation. It's about a couple of schools. It's about Alabama. Yeah. It's about Georgia. It's about Texas, because these are the schools that now in Texas A&M. You can't fix that by having meetings. You can't fix that by going from 12 to 16 to 24. It's all individual. Indiana didn't get there. Indiana was helped by the Big Ten, but Indiana got to the national championship by itself.
I sit here with a grin on my face. I am so tickled that we have made it here. We are in a place where Paul Feinbaum looks like he ran over his dog. Matt Berry works for ESPN. You think ESPN's happy that the Big Ten's won the last 3 national championships? That the SEC hasn't had a team pass the into a final in the last 3 years? only one team into a semifinal? Or did Texas make the semifinal last year? Anyway, they haven't been in the final, certainly. Look, we've been talking about it around here. I mean, it's hard for us to do this YouTube, Twitter, whatever stuff, right? It's difficult to get the word out. You guys are the smartest viewers. I will say that forever. You ask the best questions. You have the best comments. They're based on what we talk about around here. And then you guys turn us around on opinions all the time. If you say, oh, wait a second, yeah, maybe you're right about that. We do that all the time around here. But we also say things that are right and everybody disagrees with us at the time and turn out to be vindicated. And it's tough ourselves to talk about that. You guys do a great job talking about it for us. But this is what separates us from a lot of other resources, is that we'll go the next level and say, hey, look here. We warned you about this. The only way you're going to affect change at your school is go to your school and affect change. And you guys can do that as boosters. You can do that in supporting social media accounts, certainly with your money and resources, time. And that's a great way to be a fan. And that's what we really lean into here. And you guys know, I say stuff all the time that I don't necessarily regret, but I sometimes have to take back, or I'll mitigate a little bit. But certainly, you know, I'm telling you the truth, and I'm talking from my shirt sleeve. And certainly it's passionate and as knowledgeable as I can make it, certainly. And you guys do the exact same thing. I just want to let you know I really, really appreciate that. I'm going to open up the phone lines one last time because I turned them off for that. Phone lines are open. I'll give you one last chance, a couple minutes here, 801-899-6203. Call in. I can take one more call. Or certainly, if anybody wants to leave a super chat or a super sticker, I'll read those comments. Here's another one from Daniel. He's using his member for 25 months. Daniel, member for 25 months. Also a contributor much longer than that. That's 2 years, Daniel. I appreciate you so much. Thanks for all you do, especially your weekly shows on Mondays or Tuesdays, whenever you release them. Those videos are awesome. Wait, Feinbaum didn't move. Nope, Feinbaum has not left the country. Again, if you look at this picture, he looks like somebody ran over his dog, though. I'm sorry. That's what that looks like. There's no other way to put it. He is so dejected. And he's been told, I don't know this, but I'm pretty sure he's been told by the SEC, we are not going to 24. The SEC is willing to go to 16. They do not want to go to 24. If they go to 24, it probably means over time the Big Ten gets more teams in than the SEC will eventually. That's the tide is turning on the SEC. It's taken major moves in the universe of college football, but the luster is off the rose with the SEC. Now it's up to the SEC schools to go out and prove it again. And of course, they'll continue to have that preferential statement for years to come, but it is changing. Let's see here. Let me get to a couple more comments. Bulldog, Mississippi, somebody certainly who sees Paul Feinbaum all the time representing the Mississippi Bulldogs. I promise Feinbaum hasn't lost any hair over this stuff, Bomber. That's funny. That's really good. No, he hasn't lost any hair. He's still got those little, what do you call those, sideburn things? He's got those. No, not sideburns, these things up here. But he looks absolutely dejected. He looks absolutely dejected there. Dennis Hattie went and did some fact checking. Let's read this. Thank you, Dennis, by the way. According to the Sports Business Journal, the New York Times, and Fox, the Major League Baseball experienced significant popularity growth in the last few years, going by TV viewership, game attendance, and revenue generated. What I'm saying, Dennis, is that might be true. The growth may be good, but is it per capita more than it was in 1999? The population of the United States has gone up. Baseball per capita, that's the number I'm looking for. It's great, though, that more people are watching baseball. My first love was baseball. I'll be perfectly honest. I was pretty good at baseball until I got hurt. I love baseball, but current form of baseball is almost unwatchable. I watch the Mariners just because I've been a Mariners fan forever in a closet. But baseball, the pitch clock helped, I think. Some of the other rules where you can't do the shift and all those. I think that's stupid. But they just need to fix their CBA. The Dodgers should not be able to spend $500 million or whatever on one player. That should not be possible. So the economics of baseball need to be fixed. That's all I'm going to say. Let's see if there's anything else here. Shonsky, talk about lawsuits. Wait until a juiced player kills another player coming across the middle. How would you feel about that, Bomber? Want your kids getting juiced up? If everybody's juicing, then there is no. Look, at the end of the day, people play football, know there's a risk. There's already a risk. It doesn't need steroids to be there. If everybody's playing on steroids, does that risk go up higher? Maybe. I don't know. All I'm saying is right now there are people that are doing it and others that are not, and that I don't think is fair. I would much rather everybody could do it and then it was just controlled. Obviously there's problems in the implementation. It's not perfect. I'm just talking from a very high level. As long as they're administered by a doctor and they're controlled appropriately, I think everybody should be able to do it. Anyway, a couple more. Here's one. Bulls fan. I think going to 24 teams means that the CFP TV deal triggers a clause where they can bid games out again. 16 teams means ESPN can still control it. Boy, I haven't heard that. I would love that if that were true. I don't know. I haven't heard any. I've heard about 14 and maybe 16. I haven't heard anything about 24. So if that's true, that's even better. Give Fox a chance to get in there. Give TNT a chance to get in there. Apple, I don't care who it is. We need options outside of ESPN. That's all I'm saying, okay? That's all I'm saying. All right, well, guys, this has been awesome. I appreciate you sticking with me to the end. That last little bit, that Feinbaum piece, somebody wants to make me real happy, clip that piece out and repost it. I think that was a lot of fun. I had fun, certainly. And it's, at the end of the day, the SEC knows they're on mark time, and where we end up here with NIL and a CBA and the future of college football, the CFP, it's going to be the whole off season. We're going to talk about it, and we're going to do it here with you. Thank you so much for calling in. Those that called in, thanks everybody for doing super chats and becoming new members. I appreciate that a ton. Let's quickly name those people. Caden the Diesel Freak, the Evil Badger, Ryan Willie, Bulldog Mississippi, and Daniel Gygax. Thank you so much, guys, for being here. I appreciate it. Thanks everybody else for watching. You guys are awesome. I will leave you with this comment from Bulldog Mississippi. Everybody on BYU breaking records next year if Balmer is the strength coach. Let's go. I'm ready for that. Bulldog Mississippi. We don't play Texas Tech next year. Either does Utah. Texas Tech has the easiest schedule in the Big 12 by far. Check their schedule. They don't have BYU or Utah on it. BYU and Utah obviously play each other. It's going to be tough to get into that playoff final game. And if two teams can beat Texas Tech, that wouldn't make me sad at all. Go ahead and beat them a couple times and have BYU play somebody else in the championship game. Anyway, you guys are great. Thank you so much for all you do for us. Again, look for the new format, short videos we will be putting on Twitter. And I guess we will see you Friday night for the Big Freaking Friday show. And who knows what we'll be doing there. I'm trying to get David McKenzie for that show to talk a little bit about this Mensah deal with Duke a little bit farther. He knows law, and it'd be fun to talk to him. So I'm going to try to effort that up on Friday. But other than that, you guys stay out of trouble. If you're in that zone in the Southeast from Texas to Florida, Georgia, make sure all those states, you guys go get your emergency supplies. Do everything you can to protect your families. Generators, go buy extra water, do everything you can to protect yourselves. It's going to be ugly, and just plan for it being ugly. This is a lot of times people do over dramatic things about the weather. This one's real, and I just want to get the word out in case you hadn't heard. So everybody stay warm, and we will talk to you Friday night. Thank you, Bulldog Mississippi. Great show. Thanks for being here. Everybody stay out of trouble. I appreciate you. Go Hawks. Go Cougs. Peace out.